saying, son. Parker got a hit list. He got a hit list. First, he's going around calling out Dillian White. Now he's going around saying he wants the winner of David Haye versus Tony Bellew. What? He ain't playing when he says he don't want to fight no bums. Because, a lot of times when fighters lose for the first time, what do they do? Let me ask you this. What does a fighter normally do when he, comes off a loss? He fights a bum, right? He fights a guy with like 5 losses. A guy he's supposed to win, basically. But that's not what the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph Parker, is doing. He wants to fight a top contender. He's called out Dillian White, and now he's calling out the winner of Tony Bellew versus David Haye. Now that right there, I think for him, if he wants to keep his status and like people talking about him, I think that's a good move for Joseph Parker to fight the winner of David Haye versus Tony Bellew, and to either that or to fight or to face off with Dillian White. Because right now, a lot of people are talking about Dillian White, right? UK boxing fans are really high on him, and right now, a bunch of people are talking about about Tony Bellew versus David Haye. The rematch, the grudge match. Is David Haye gonna get his revenge? When he lost to Tony Bellew, everybody kept the excuse that David Haye fanboys were saying was, well, the only reason David Haye lost was because he, I forgot, what did he do? He ruptured his Achilles. He did something to his leg, and therefore, Tony Bellew, quote unquote, got lucky, and But let's say, I personally think Tony Bellew is going to beat David Haye because I think David Haye's shot. Let's say he beats David Haye. Then he wins. Then we're going to have Tony Bellew versus Joseph Parker, because I remember months ago in my original channel, I made a video saying that Tony Bellew wanted to face Joseph Parker, and he felt that he could beat him. But I guess it's a little bit different now, because back then, Joseph Parker was the WBO champion. He had something valuable. It was a title. And I think that's what Tony Bellew was looking at, was the fact that Joseph Parker had a belt. So would Tony Bellew still want to face Joseph Parker knowing that he's not a champion anymore? Because if he were to face, because Tony Bellew has always wanted to be a champion at heavyweight. I've always seen him say, I want to win a world title at heavyweight. And he always felt that Joseph Parker could be his best chances in winning a title, because Joseph Parker was about the same height as him. He's the shortest of all the champions. But now Joseph Parker is not a champion anymore. So if he were to fight Joseph Parker, he wouldn't really gain anything from that, would he? He wouldn't gain that WBO strap. So does he still feel the same way? Would he still take that risk in facing Joseph Parker now that Joseph Parker wants to face him? Would he still take it knowing that Joseph Parker isn't a champion anymore? And when it comes to David Haye, him too. David Haye wanted to become a champion again. And if he manages to beat, what's his name, Tony Bellew in that rematch, in that grudge match, would he be willing to face Joseph Parker and take that risky fight, knowing that Joseph Parker isn't a champion anymore? So what would he gain from that if he were to fight him? If he were a champion, and let's say David Haye were to beat him, he will be the heavyweight champion again. In it's been years. He hasn't been a champion, David Haye, at heavyweight since he lost his, I believe it was the WBA strap against Klitschko back in 2011. I saw that fight live. Crazy. It's been 7 years. That's crazy. I saw that. I remember that fight happened live. A lot of you UK boxing fans were like, don't act like you were not hyping up David Haye. I remember a lot of you dudes, I wasn't making videos back then, of course, but I was like, watching other uploaders, right? I was watching them, big fan of guys out there, and I was watching them, and a lot of like, I would read the comments. A lot of you UK boxing fans were high on David Haye, and he did that whole, infamous toe injury, and that's the only reason I couldn't beat Klitschko shit, But yeah, if he were to win a champion belt, it would be the first time he won a belt in 7 years. But I like the fact that Joseph Parker is trying to get these big fights. Tony Bellew, David Haye, Dillian White, because like I said, he's coming off a big fight with Anthony Joshua. A lot of people were talking about him, so you don't want to downgrade and fight someone nobody ever heard of. Like, you don't want to be fighting him. You know, you don't want to have a fight with Anthony Joshua, then your next fight be against Fred Cassie. You know, you don't want that. You don't want that. You want to go right back into a big fight. So, like I said, Dillian Whyte, David Haye, Tony Bellew, perfect. Because, like I said, these guys aren't as, you know, big as Anthony Joshua, but they're big in the UK boxing market. So that would be good for his profile, at least, you know. And who you guys, how you guys think? Let me know in the comment section how you guys think that fight plays out. Joseph Parker versus Tony Bellew, or even better, Joseph Parker versus David Haye. You know, because David Haye is a natural heavyweight. How do you guys think that fight plays out? I personally think he beats David Haye because David Haye, I think he's past his prime. And I personally also think he beats Tony Bellew because Tony Bellew is not a natural heavyweight. And Tony Bellew, I think he's a very limited fighter. I think Joseph Parker has way more skills than someone like than Tony Bellew. That's just my opinion. I think out of all those fights, out of Tony Bellew, David Haye, and Dillian Whyte, I think Dillian Whyte is the most competitive fight for Joseph Parker because Dillian Whyte is in his prime and Dillian Whyte is an actual heavyweight. And I think Dillian Whyte is a better fighter than Tony Bellew. And I think Dillian Whyte at this stage in his career has more to offer than someone like David Haye. I think David Haye is over the hill. I think he needs to retire soon, David Haye. I just don't think he's world level anymore, you know. I think it's age, you know. He's 38 now, so I think it's age for him. So yeah, I would personally want to see Joseph Parker versus Dillian Whyte, and I would give him the most credit from that because, like I said, I think Dillian Whyte is the most competitive fight out of all those three. But let me know what you guys think. How, you know, do you guys think that those are good fights for Joseph Parker? You know, David Haye, Tony Bellew, Dillian Whyte. Let me know in the comment section, guys. And as always, if you watch the video from start to finish, much appreciated, guys. And subscribe for daily boxing video, guys. Bye. Bye-bye.